You're listening to Winnipeg's Classic 107. My name is Simon Rusnak. This weekend, the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra performs Unforgettable Classical Favourites alongside guest soprano Andrea Lett. The Saskatchewan-born Winnipeg-based singer has worked with companies across North America, including the San Francisco, Edmonton, and Sante Fe Operas, and made her Manitoba Opera debut in the 2018-19 season as Zerlina in Don Giovanni. I'm very happy to welcome back Andrea to Classic 107 now. Hey, Andrea.
Hi, Simon. How are you doing?
You know what? I'm doing real well. This show called Unforgettable Classical Favorites certainly seems to me like it's going to be unforgettable for you too. You're on the marquee. You're the guest performer, Andrea.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, tell us more about how that feels.
I think that there's always something that's very exciting about performing in the city that you live in and kind of like your home city because you know a lot of the musicians around. I always love singing with the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra. It feels like home on that stage. Sorry about the dog barking. If you can hear it, I apologize.
Totally cool.
But yeah, it feels like a really big moment. I think part of it is also that adds to it is the fact that like I haven't sung on stage with an orchestra in a very long time, so that certainly adds to how special it feels. And there's something really wonderful about being able to perform for people who I love, for an audience that I love, in a city that I love. So
Yes, so special and so deserved and so happy for you. So just before we get chatting about what you'll be performing, I definitely want to ask a little bit more about the last little while and all of this pandemic-related business. Of course, everyone's experience has been different and unique, but like so many, you just alluded to it, you've experienced cancellations and postponements, and most recently the Manitoba Opera production where you were to sing Clorinda in La Cenerentola, the Rossini opera. Tell us a little bit more about what it's been like having to roll with the punches as a performer.
I think as an artist, we're used to improvising and we're used to things maybe not going exactly as planned all the time. I can't think of any gig that I've ever had where everything went exactly as I thought it would. There was nothing that ever got in the way. Like, things happen, right? And I think that there's definitely a balancing between taking care of people and taking care of the audience that we as performers love so much, and also being able to offer something and feeling like we have something to something productive to offer and something that we can give back to society, I guess. And so balancing those two interests is tricky, especially now, because on one hand, we want to be able to produce art. We want to be able to give something to feel like we're contributing and to say something. Artists, like, we want to be able to have something of value that maybe might comfort people or might bring joy, and that's what we want to do. But at the same time, we need to protect the audiences and make sure that we aren't putting people in compromising situations, particularly with respect to their health. So the one really nice thing about this concert with the WSO is that it is going to be limited capacity. And so if there are those who want to come out to see, they can feel safe doing that, but also it will be live streamed. And so that's a really nice balance, I think, striking, of like, if you want to participate as an audience member, you're able to sort of have that accessibility. When it comes to the decision with Manitoba Opera, of course I was, sad because I was really looking forward to it, but it's completely understandable. I had a gig with the Winnipeg Philharmonic Choir that I was very excited about as well, that was recently canceled. They were going to do the Lord Nelson Mass. Mm-hmm. And I think that, getting to learn that music was really rewarding. I think it gave me something at least to work on for the past few months. And as sad as it was that it was canceled, when you think about it, it's a choir. There's people singing together. It is our job and responsibility to make choices that, keep people safe. And so I can't fault anyone for trying to make those tough calls. I personally am glad that I don't have to make those tough calls. And I can tell you, if certain things had gone ahead and I had to be singing in people's faces all the time, like, I might have been a little worried too. So when they made that call to postpone it, at least Manitoba Opera, it was a bit of a relief at the same time, because then I felt like, well, no, I don't have to question myself, like, should I be going into rehearsals today? Like, spring allergies happen, right? And how do you contend with those? And so is it allergies? Is it COVID? Right. And so now all of a sudden I don't have to ask those tough questions, and the decision was made for me. And so in that way, it's almost a little bit of a relief.
I think all of us have had those little scares, those little moments where it's what is this exactly, right? So to not have to contend with that heading over to a rehearsal, certainly can sympathize. Just one more thing on balancing, there have been all these concerts in the works and performances and practices, but you're also in the midst of your own studies in second year in Robson Hall Faculty of Law at the U of M. How have you been navigating that? I mean, it's a pretty demanding program, I would imagine. Is there a struggle balancing studies with practice and performance?
I Yes. I mean, it's always a struggle balancing everything at any time, I think. I've got a 7-year-old, I've got a husband, I've got 2 dogs and a cat, and balancing all of that has its own challenges, balancing that with school, and then with also practicing. But I think what I really love about it more than anything is that it makes me feel like I have a full 3D life, where it's not just one thing and one aspect of my life that is all that I am. I'm not just Andrea, a singer, and I'm not just Andrea, a law student, or I'm not just Andrea, in the context of the family. It's like I get to feel like I have so many different interests, and I've like explored so many different things in my life. I've been very lucky in that regard. And that's kind of an exciting and it's something that I'm very grateful for. And so, when I'm, pouring Coke Zero into my coffee to stay awake at times, which is disgusting, but I have done it. When I'm doing that while that's like difficult, at the same time, I think how lucky am I that I get to have so many different things that I get to throw myself into, and that I get to sort of experience it all and really learn a lot, and in so many different areas of my life. So I am, as difficult as it is, I'm more grateful than anything for that.
Well, this weekend, you get to be Andrea Lett, guest soprano with the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra, and I assume that pouring Coke Zero into a coffee isn't like a prescribed warm-up of any type this weekend, so that would be something. Be a very bouncy program, I think. We just yesterday actually spoke with Maestro Julian Pellicano, and he was telling us about how this is basically a list of his personal favorites and these unforgettable classical favorites in the concerts, though I imagine you got to pick the tunes that you'll be performing, right?
Yeah, I did. I was really excited when Julian emailed me and asked me if I wanted to do the program. And he kind of said, you know where to find the list of the WSO library for soprano pieces. So have at it, right? Like 3 pieces, pick your faves. We did a little bit of tweaking just kind of to make sure that it fit with the program. But essentially, these are kind of actually I was going through it yesterday as well, and I was just like, these were kind of my 3 favorite arias to sing. In general, they're all roles that I've done, and so that's also really satisfying because it's something that I feel very comfortable in. I know exactly what's going on in the opera, and it's something that I've had a chance to stage and work into my body, and so that's very exciting. And then I have very fond memories associated with each character as well, right? And sort of the cast that was there and the time and all that. So it's I really love all of these pieces. Certainly, I would advocate to do them anytime. So if you hear me do them again, then I apologize, but I do love to sing them.
No, nothing to apologize for. There's some heavy hitters on the program. Puccini, Johann Strauss Jr., and Verdi. Tell us about the 3 arias that you'll be performing.
So the first aria that I'll be singing is the Laughing Aria, Adele's aria from Die Fledermaus. And I first did this role, I was covering it in Sante Fe, and it was really fun. And we're doing it in English. So that's one thing that I always like doing things in English too, especially for when I know that there are going to be folks that I know in the audience, because it's something that's very accessible. It's funny that the opera is very funny. The character is very sassy. She's very, she thinks on her feet. She's very quick. She's a typical chambermaid in opera. We love it. And yeah, it's a very fun thing to sing. It's light, it's accessible. No one, like, it's not anything that is, difficult to wrap your head around. It's just yeah, it's a chambermaid who has decided that she wants to go to a ball. She puts on her mistress's dress, she goes to the ball, and then she sees her employer there. And her employer says, yo, that looks like my chambermaid in my wife's dress. And she's like, that's ridiculous. That's just funny. That's a joke. Like, I can't believe that you would think that. It's hilarious. What a misunderstanding. It's essentially the essence of the aria. And yeah. And at the end, everyone, the whole crowd is all on her side because they think, well, she's charming. How could she be a chambermaid? She's so lovely. She looks fabulous in this dress. Like, there's no way. And so then the marquis, or not the marquis, her employer has to basically just smile and just step back because, no one really believes him.
You're also going to be performing Musetta's Waltz from Bohème. I mean, obviously another favorite, right?
Yeah, I always like to describe this as the operatic version of posting a really flattering picture of yourself on social media, and everyone's like liking it and throwing out fire emojis and everything like that. And she's just like, oh, thanks, like, everyone, that's so sweet of you. Please stop, but actually keep going, right? And so this is her basically. She walks into a bar, she sees her ex, and she tries to get his attention. She's with her sugar daddy, and she's got all her shopping bags and her beautiful dress and her fabulous new Louboutin shoes and everything like that. And her ex just doesn't look over. He's just like, I know she's here. I don't want to talk to her. I don't like, great. She's doing well. Happy for her. Right. And so finally, as a last tactic, she just sings a song about how gorgeous she is. And it's like, it's like I'm too sexy, right? In opera version. And she basically gets the whole attention of the bar. And then finally, by the end of the scene, they're back in each other's arms. And, the poor sugar daddy has to go off and, get her some shoes. So.
All right. Well,
it
worked. It worked. That it certainly did. And then you'll be performing one more number, an absolutely iconic tune, Caro Nome, right?
Yeah, this is a special place in my heart. This is actually my favorite aria to sing. And I think a big part of it was this was an aria that I sang at the COC, the Canadian Opera Company competition a few years ago, and it was probably one of the best performances that I've ever done. And I got the Audience Choice Award and a CBC Young Artist Recipient Award, and so it felt very satisfying to know that I had done well and to know that that was recognized. But I think also this was an aria where I struggled a lot when I first learned it. And then so to eventually come to a point with it where it was something that I was very proud of, and proud of the work that I put into it, and it became something that I loved very much, was very exciting. It was also, Rigoletto was also the last kind of show that I did before COVID. It was in like September, October 2019. So as far as actual operas, that was kind of the last one that I did before everything kind of changed. And I was covering it, and it's a very satisfying role. It's a very very beautiful music. I really love Verdi and how he orchestrates things generally. I find it's just it's really relatable, and you can hear sort of different things in the orchestra, like there's the flutes flutter and it seems like butterflies in her stomach. You can hear the violin repeats the same note, and you hear this longing or this heartbeat kind of speeding up as she gets more excited. And so I really love Verdi's music.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a really special program this weekend, Andrea. And thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me at Classic 107 today.
Thanks for talking with me.
Always. You can get tickets online or in person, as Andrea pointed out, at WSO.ca. 2 performances to check out the show on Saturday at 7:30, and then there's also a matinee on Sunday. We've also got details up at classic107.com.